according to INEC, expires on Sunday. That will be 3 p.m. on Sunday, the 29th of January. We have a number of guests, and these guests, of course, are our correspondents, and will be joined later on by an official of INEC. But here with us in the Abuja studios, NTA Abuja correspondent Aisha Ubali. We're glad to have you on the program.
Good morning, Nigerians, and it's my pleasure to be here.
Okay. From Sokoto, in the northwest of the country, we have correspondent Usman Muhammad Binji. Usman Muhammad Binji joining us from Sokoto. Usman, glad to see you on the program. Correspondent Usman.
Good morning, everybody. It is a pleasure being here.
Glad to.
All right, Binji, thank you. And we also have joining us via Zoom from Owerri, Bright Ibocho. Bright is our NTA correspondent, and of course, he'll be joining us for this conversation. Is Bright there? All right, from Owerri, we'll be moving to Yola, and that's from our Yola studios. We will have Yusuf Jika. Yusuf Jika will be joining us. Yusuf Jika, thank you. How are you? Yusuf seems to be, apparently he cannot hear me. But certainly, last but not the least, we'll be having Oyeyinka Omole. Oyeyinka Omole is our NTA Ibadan correspondent. Hello, Oyeyinka. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me on the program.
All right. Oyeyinka, thank you for being with us from Ibadan. And we might as well start the conversation today with you. Tell us what the situation is with the collection of PVCs. In the first instance, are there still matters that are bothering persons who wish to collect their PVCs?
Thank you. Here in Oyo State, the INEC are not working alone. They have other stakeholders working with them, and that has made the program to be seamless. The process has been seamless for the fact that we have volunteers that are working with them. I would like to describe the process of collection of PVC here as being sensitive and non-sensitive. Sensitive in the sense that the INEC officials are made to actually give the cards to the owners, while the volunteers are there to assist in the process, the non-sensitive processes, like checking the name of registrants on the photo card to see whether the passport is corresponding with the names, the biodata on the passports. So doing that has made the process to be seamless. And, you know, talking of any issue, any complaints, there are no peculiar issues here in Oyo State aside what has been highlighted here and there from other parts of the country. We have issues of multiple registrations. We have issues of people transferring their PVCs from a particular polling unit to another, from state to state, from ward to ward, and so on and so forth. Generally speaking, the process has been seamless, especially in Ibadan here that I monitored. There are no serious issues, although some that have issues do blame it on the INEC officials. Like in the process of multiple registrations, I've seen some respondents actually saying that when you are dealing with a computer system, at times when you save an item on the system and you try to save the same item again, it will tell you that the file has already exists. So instead of waiting till the time when they'll be collecting the PVC to tell them that they've engaged in multiple registration, that why is it not discovered during the course of registration instead of waiting till when they come to collect the PVC. But I will clearly blame this on the attitude of some Nigerians of not being faithful. By the time the INEC officials try to drill them, they will say, okay, they could remember in 2011 that they voted at also place. So instead of maybe during the course of relocating from one point to another, instead of being sincere that, see, I've been voting before, this is what has happened, I've misplaced my card or I've relocated, some just went ahead and engaged in another registration, which has resulted to not having the opportunity of even having any of the cards to vote in the forthcoming general elections. Generally speaking, I would say here in Oyo State, especially in Ibadan, there are no peculiar issues aside what has been highlighted so far.
Just thank you, Oyeyinka. So no peculiar issues, but we know there are, about three, group of persons who will be, going to collect their PVCs. The new registrants, and of course those who have applied for transfers, or those who are actually, applying for replacement of their PVC. So all those people, are they all together going to the same point, to access these services? If that is so, what is being done to decongest, the collection areas?
Yes, thank you. Like the Ibadan North local government area that I went to, I discovered that the process is decentralized. If your case is transfer, there is a particular room you go to. If your own case is defaced PVC, probably you come to change, you've registered to change your damaged PVC, you go to another center. And talking about the new registrants, I discovered that, to me, I believe the new registrants should be those eligible voters who are just turning 18. In the course of 2019 general elections till this moment, I mean the moment of registering for continuous voter registration. But I discovered that even some are in their 30s, some are in their 40s, and they are registering for the first time. And I asked them, you are not just 18, you are above 30, you are above 40, why are you just coming to register? And they made me to realize that the awareness has reached them, that they should participate in the processes of electing leaders, that they should not be playing the blame game every now and then, that when you are not involved, you can't blame whatever the outcome is at the end of the day. So people are being aware, they are conscious of their rights to be part of the process, so that at the end of the day, we all have one story or the other to tell, instead of sitting at the fence.
All right, Oyeyinka Omole, thank you very much there for your situation report. Excuse me, from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. We appreciate what you have said, but just the last point you made, there should be no surprise whatsoever that anyone who is above 18 to 110 years, 120 years, is a registrant for the first time. The surprise will be anyone below 18 trying to register, then that will be an offense. It is a right, as you have said, and as you know, a person can choose to sit on his or her right. If you sit on your right, it is your right to sit on your right. Now that you are choosing to exercise your right, then you go and register. You have registered, you want to collect your PVC, and it is the experience of those who are seeking to collect their PVCs that you have related to us in our interaction with you this morning. So, Erika, we're going to pause you in the meantime and then join our other colleagues in other network centers. We're going over now to Sokoto, where we earlier introduced Usman Muhammad Benji. Usman Benji, tell us, what is the situation with the caliphate?
Good morning once again. Here in Sokoto, it is interesting to know that we have 23 local governments, 244 wards, and more than 3,000 polling units. And as in many cities of Nigeria, Sokoto is not an exception. The early days when the exercise commenced, that is the collection of the PVC by the prospective voters. Most of the centers we visited, they were overcrowded and somehow rowdy. And the exercise was more or less cumbersome, because what we understand was that in a place or in a collection center, about 75 or less than that polling units were matched. That is when the people were collecting the PVC at ward level. For instance, at Arkilla, one of the collection centers, which is in Wamako local government, when we went there, the place was rowdy. It was crowded, majorly by women who thronged to collect their PVCs. But unfortunately, most of them spent hours in the queue without getting their PVCs. At one of the area in the Nigerian local government also, there was the same problem. But the following morning, what happened was maybe because of the efforts made by INEC to ensure that the place is decongested, what we understand was that they made an arrangement that, for instance, from 8 a.m. to 10 in the morning, people maybe from so polling unit will come and collect their PVCs. And of course, that worked greatly, because when we visited again, a lot of people were able to get their PVCs. And apart from that, after the collection at what level, now that they have moved to local government level to continue with the distribution of the PVCs, things are going quite as expected. And that one may not be unconnected with the efforts by INEC and Sokoto State government, the traditional institution, and some notable politicians in Sokoto State who informed their followers and supporters to go and collect their PVCs. And of course, as I was speaking to INEC yesterday, they told me that right now, 87% has been achieved in terms of PVC collection. So as far as we are concerned, Sokoto, during the early take-up of the exercise, there was hiccups and challenges. And up to now, there are challenges, because I was able to speak to some people who told me that they were, as the local government, to collect their PVCs, but they were told their names have not appeared. And that may not be unconnected with maybe some of the errors encountered during the restoration. But they told me that their names have been piled, and they are expecting that INEC will do the needful so that they will be able to exercise their franchise when the time comes.
All right, Benji, I'll still remain with you. And because the reception from your end, it's crystal clear, but not as clear here. All right, so
is it the same stuff?
so let's take advantage of the clarity of your signals. I'm glad that you said majority of those who are turning out to collect their PVCs are women, and of course from INEC's earlier data given to us, when you break down the turnout in terms of geographical zoning, Northwest appears to be on the lead in terms of the people who have collected. So what did you do? What do you think was the extra effort done by either the state government or the people themselves, apart from what INEC had done, to sensitize the people for them to come out en masse, regardless of the challenges that they have?
I think INEC has done well, because I can recall vividly the REC in Sokoto State was able to visit the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abu Bakr, where he appealed to him to mobilize support, maybe through the traditional institution or traditional leaders. And that one was done. And apart from that, Sokoto State government, through the Ministry of Information, they make sure that people are enlightened and educated on the importance attached to having their PVCs, because that is the only way they can exercise their franchise. And there are politicians like Senator Ali Magatakadramako on several occasions call on his supporters, APC supporters, and everyone to go and collect their PVCs. And I think that is one of the motivation behind the coming of people, especially women. I have to mention, I am glad to see how women participated or thronged the collection centers to have their PVCs. If you go to any of the collection centers, what you will see are women. It is really surprising and interesting to see that despite the prediction by some people that there will be voter apathy, with the coming of the surge or the way collection centers were crowded, it tells you people or Nigerians are ready to come on board come February and March general elections.
Osman Benji, just before we pause you and go over to Yola to join Jika, our other correspondent there, there were two issues that came up in our conversation on Tuesday. Some of our correspondents reported on two of those issues. One had to do with lateness of resumption by the INEC staff. Now you are telling us that the process is going on smoothly in Sokoto. And in some of the accounts that we got on Tuesday, we were informed that instead of starting to deal with registrants at 9 a.m. Until 3 p.m., some of the INEC staff didn't start attending to registrants until about 11 a.m. So that was one of the issues. The other issue had to do with the prolonged time in handling just one registrant. In some cases, we were told that it took up to 10-15 minutes to handle a registrant. So what has been the average time in dealing with a registrant, and how prompt have the INEC staff been in resuming for work, and of course closing when the time is up for them to close for the day? Benji.
Thank you very much. I can recall vividly that even in Sokoto, such problem was encountered, because when the REC in Sokoto went to part of the Nigerian local government, he was bitter. He was furious to see that the annex staff, instead of them to work up to, I think, 4 p.m., they leave earlier, and that made many people to be unhappy that they will join the queue in the morning, and before they know, the annex staff will pack and go. And I was there. He warns them that it shouldn't happen again. And I think that worked greatly. It has helped to make them sit up to their responsibilities.
Turn our attention to Yola. Correspondent Yusuf Jika. Yusuf Jika, do you have any other peculiar challenge in terms of collection of PVCs from your end that you want to tell us?
Hello, good morning, Nigerians. In Yola, Adamawa State, the collection exercise of the permanent voters card is going on smoothly. We have 21 local government here in Adamawa State, 226 registration areas, and also 4,104 polling units in Adamawa State. Out of this, in the registration areas where the exercise is going on, it has been characterized in a peaceful and seamless manner, whereby people have been turning out en masse to collect their permanent voters card. This was as a result of the commitment by the Independent National Electoral Commission and partners, as well as the state government and also the politicians who are sensitizing the populace on the need for them to collect their permanent voters card. And this has resulted to large number of people turning out to the centers from early in the morning, and once you get to the centers, you can collect your PVCs seamlessly and at no cost of time. The process here in Adamawa State has been generally described as peaceful, though there are some challenges that has been occurring, whereby one can visit the center and found out that his name was in the INEC portal, but the PVC was not there on ground. And also the issue of multiple registration. They have been countering that in most of the centers. We have visited some areas in Mobi. We have visited some centers in Shelling local government area in the southern part of the state. Just last 2 days, we have visited Numan in also southern part of the state. The cases is still the same. The people are turning out en masse, but the only thing that has been happening is that multiple registration is served as one of the major challenges that is happening to the prospective voters, and also as we said earlier, the people, one can register, and on the point of collecting the PVC will not be there for him to access. So these are one of the challenges we have. But in general, in all aspects, the process is peaceful and seamless.
Jika, thank you very much for the observations that you have relayed back to us and to our viewers with respect to what is happening in Jika. Well, a number of issues, Yola rather. Jika is also a place name, I believe, in Adamawa State, but Yola is the state capital. Tell us, you say that people are turning out en masse to collect their PVCs. In other words, there is a surge. Are those persons who are on the queues attended to throughout the day, or there is a cutoff time and then people have to make maybe repeated visits before they get their PVCs? In other words, on the average, how much time does it take for a registrant to be attended to? Are there instances, again, of lateness of INEC staff? That's one. And then secondly, those who did multiple registration and therefore their names do not appear, or the PVCs are not altogether available, what explanations are being provided by the INEC staff to these persons who obviously might be frustrated?
Thank you, Kesley. The first observation was the INEC people, the INEC staff have been turning out to the centers as earnest, as early as 8, 9, and people have been turning out. It's just the matter of 5, 10, 15 minutes that will take a person to collect his PVC. And the issue of multiple registration, once a person, because there was a person that I met, he has been in charge of multiple registration, and he approached me and told me that his PVC is not there because they told him that he has multiple registration. Then I asked him that he should go on to the INEC office and meet them, lay the complaint to them that he just have only one, he just only registered once, and his registration appears to be multiple. So I don't know how they ended up with the INEC officials, but definitely there are some cases that have been witnessing in that regard.
All right, Yusuf Jika, thank you. We'll just pause it for a while and return to you later. I don't know if we have Bright Abuja, NTA correspondent in Owerri. Okay, we don't have him. So let's get back to the studio here. And Aisha Uba Ali is our NTA correspondent of course, from the Unity station here in Abuja, and she has also been monitoring the process. And in fact, she did visit one of the IDP camps here in the FCT. But Aisha, just give us a feedback of what the situation is within the Abuja, and maybe if you did visit any of the centers at the FCT, in the FCT.
Thank you very much, Claire, for that question. It's a privilege to have been involved in this exercise right from the time of the registration to the time they start distributing these cards. And to be sincere, most of my colleagues have said the problem. There's nothing special or there's no peculiar problem with the FCT aside what they have said, but it's just the same issue we have been seeing in previous exercises. But the FCT is a special, I see FCT as a special center because of the population of the FCT, especially Amak Area Council, the Abuja Municipal Area Council. When they started the when INEC announced the distribution, their office was something else. There was a whole lot of crowd population. You couldn't even access their offices. And the issue mainly is, I will look at this distribution exercise is the issue of personnel. Will I say personnel? Because you could find that the problem of sorting of these cards, there were a whole lot of mix-up. People will come from far, going to the same place 3-4 times, and their cards were not seen or made available. So like my own card, for instance, taking myself as an example, I was told my card was not found. After a while, I was called that my card was found. So you could go to a point, you see, there's a lady I saw, they told her card was not there. She asked, like one of my colleagues, but it's like a sensitive process, that particular sorting of the cards. If you're not an INEC official, you're not allowed to sort those cards, yes. But she begged, can I just check for my card? And she checked and she found her card. So these are some of the things.
What explanation did they give to you when eventually you were called to come and collect a PVC?
There was nothing as such, that they searched and they found it. But what I'm surprised is, for the transfers, for replacement, there are various cards. And for the codes, they are written on the packs. 00 this, 00 that. So when they checked, they didn't see my card. And eventually they said they found my card.
So what would have happened?
What would have happened? So that means this is the same experience other registrants or eligible voters are facing. My fear is at the end of the day, many people might be defranchised if this keeps happening. And you could see that most FCT residents are desirous to exercise their franchise in the forthcoming election. Their enthusiasm is there. They are willing to come, but they are expressing at the same time frustration, because...
What are the causes of their frustration?
One, you go there, decode. You get there, they'll tell you this is not where you're supposed to see your card, get your card. Go to another place. You go there, they'll turn you back. I met a guy yesterday, he felt like crying. He said, I've been to 3 places, but at the end of the day, when he got to JSS Garki, they told him, sorry, your card is not here. We have to request for a reprint. Then this reprint, I met another guy who requested for a reprint since 2021, August 2021. And he finally got it yesterday. So I'm just thinking, if a reprint, but according to INEC, to be fair to INEC, they were saying in 2 weeks' time, all those that need their cards need to be reprinted. In 2 weeks' time, their cards will be made available to enable them exercise their franchise. But I think...
Like a merry-go-round,
it's just a frustrating situation in most of the centers I've visited.
What about the IDP camps?
Okay, the IDP camp, I was there yesterday. There was nothing special happening at the IDP camp. It's just like every other place. But I spoke to some of the internally displaced persons. The same thing, they want to vote, but most of them don't have their voter's card. Some will give the excuses of transport. They don't have transport to go to the locations or centers to get their cards. And some other people, they say they didn't even know, they are not aware. But the major thing which I'm worried about is lack of awareness. I saw a kind of high level of ignorance among those people. One of them was telling me that they registered in Borno State, and they were told that they can't go get their PVC unless they go back to Borno State, which is not true, actually, because I see that as is not the true situation, because if they were able to access some of these centers and request for transfers, their PVCs will be transferred to this place. And again, to be fair to INEC again, the upsurge, the crowd and the clamor to go and get this card, INEC has made it known to us that you can use your old card to vote, not the temporary card, but your old card. If it's still valid, you can use it to vote. I don't know how.
No,
yes.
INEC is here. So
INEC is here. They will clarify that.
No. Well, before
not the temporary, the old. Now, some people just want the new card. If it has not, some have the new card, but if it has not expired, or though it doesn't expire actually, it's a that they call it a permanent voter card. But I heard something like that. Maybe INEC official here will clarify that.
Yeah, before we bring in the INEC official, this time let me introduce him, Mr. Victor Aluko, Director of Voter Education and Publicity at the Independent National Electoral Commission. Mr. Aluko, welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we ask you to answer some of the questions and respond to the issues raised by our correspondent, let me still stay with Aisha Obale. Aisha, I don't know, what is the problem with just arranging the cards either by polling units or by codes or in an alphabetical order, and then you come, your name is Aisha, for instance. Let's assume that's Ali is your last name. A, my name is Osadolo. You go to A, and then somebody picks it up and gives you your card, and then gives me mine. What did you observe as the issue? Is it the attitude of the staff, or they are overwhelmed? And if they are they dealing with millions of cards at the same time in one location?
That's just the true situation. When I got to JSS Garuki, I could see that the cards were arranged in codes, not alphabetical or not like with names, but in codes. But the problem is, I said the inadequacy of personnel. Few people attending to thousands of people. Before you can sort, say, I noticed one of the officials said, "Sir, please, can I get my card?" He said, "I've checked. This is your code. I've checked. Your name is not here." So he said, "Okay, what do I do after checking?" But at the end of the day, I think INEC have tried. They've been trying their best, because most of the times that they are just like multitasking. People come, okay, where do I get my card? They are the same people issuing cards. They are the same people redirecting eligible voters or register where to go. So they've been multitasking in all the centers I've been to, and in FCT they seem to be friendly with the eligible voters or registrants. They are friendly and accommodating and warming, because when those people come to us, they don't speak to them harshly. They just attend to them the way they're supposed to attend to them.
The business is get me my
card, let me vote.
But Aisha, sorry, Kingsley, before you bring in Mr. Luko, I'm just wondering, would it be that everybody wanting different services, you understand, is on the same queue? For the new registrants, for those asking for coming to collect their transfers, they are all on the same queue. Because we heard from Binji, in Sokoto,
yes.
I mean, there's decentralization to use as well.
Yes, yes.
So if you are a new registrant, you go to this place and you collect your PVC. If you are coming for replacement or transfer, you go to there's no disaggregation of.
There's no disaggregation. FCT, that's not the case. The only thing I noticed is on the same table, these cards are displayed on the same table. But here, the new registrants, their cards are in one place, one portion. But the transfers and the replacements are on the other side. So when you come, they will ask you, what did you come for? Is it replacement or new? When you tell them, they know where to go. But we don't have that luxury of having different offices and having different places or for these cards. We didn't have that luxury here in the FCT.
Is it a luxury, by the way, Aisha? Because what you are describing as to the arrangement of the cards, the sorting of the cards, reminds us of the experience we used to have in libraries before everybody went online. So any research I want to do, I just go online. If you went to a library, the card catalog, yes, usually at the basement or the first floor of a library. You go there, it's alphabetical order. You will see books have their own, they have their own boxes, and then alphabetical order. Journals have their own boxes, alphabetical order. It takes the librarian, of course, to ensure that is the case. That once you have the entry there, the entry can be by book title, journal title, or by the author's name, which is usually the last name that you start with. So, this is a simple administrative process that I imagine the INEC officials themselves ought to handle. Does it require the headquarters to be giving them directives as to how to sort this out in a simple catalog form?
Okay, I must say, Mr. Kingsley, some of the appeal from FCT residents is that if you look at these new generation banks now, if your ATM card is missing, you can just go there and print out your ATM card instantly. But I understand the sensitivity of these PVCs, which we can't do it in that manner. But what they are appealing is that, is there a way INEC can make the process of registration and distribution seamless? Because it's really, really cumbersome. It's really, really frustrating. But I also want to talk about the attitude of Nigerians. We don't take advantage of time. When we hear that something is almost ending or there's a deadline, you see an upsurge, and everywhere, everybody is expressing frustration, anger, and bitterness.
Is there a rush?
Actually, in the FCT, no, there's no rush. There's no rush for now. The centers I went visited, JSS Garki at Festival Road, and the other one at LEA, Diplomatic Garden, rather, Area 1, which is a special center.
City center.
Yes, city center. These are for those at the city center. There's no, the crowd, they're able to manage the crowd. But the issue is, some of them are there to get information. Nobody is giving them that information.
What kind of information are they seeking?
Where do I go to? What next do I do? When am I getting my card? What is it? Some of those questions, they don't have food to give them the answers.
Aisha, thank you. We will come back to you later on in the course of the conversation. Our Owerri correspondent is not immediately available just yet, but once we set up the link with him, we'll of course bring him online to give us the situation report from Imo State. Back to the studios, Mr. Victor Aluko, Director, Voter Education and Publicity, INEC. You've had the benefit of listening to our correspondents from different locations, a few heartwarming stories, but mostly the challenges persist.
Yeah, thank you. I think I want to start by thanking all Nigerians who responded since December 12th to our call that they should come and collect their PVCs. Millions of PVCs have been collected. We are aware that there are challenges, and we're trying everything day in, day out to mitigate the problems. You will agree with me that these events are local, and resident electoral commissioners in their states took various measures as their own terrain and the population and the issues allowed to ensure that people were able to collect these cards seamlessly. In the FCT here, even though we reverted to the area council offices from the 22nd, you find out that even in AMAC, the FCT INEC office is running on 8 centers. They're not strictly staying in the AMAC office. They're running 8 centers. I was relating with the head of VEP in FCT yesterday, and she sent me even the location and list of the centers. And in other states, resident electoral commissioners took steps, especially in the urban and highly populated areas, to make sure that people were able to collect. We are not happy when any voter is having any problems, because as we always say, our responsibility is to Nigerians, and each voter that has any problem gives us heartache. And we're reviewing the whole thing. We still have today, tomorrow, and Sunday, 3 days for everyone who is here to collect to be able to collect. We have issues of those who engage in double registration. When we were having CVR, we explained to people that if you registered before and your name is in our database and you need to transfer or need to collect another card in terms of maybe damaged cards, don't register again. Unfortunately, we still have some of them who did that, who we have explained, and we had to do duplication, and there's no way we print cards for those people. If they turn up, we politely let them know. In future, they can still do transfer, they can still do replacement. Their names are in the register. We have that data. We also have issues where a few, and I had a friend who reached out to me, whose card was not yet printed. And of course, the officials attended to him and assured him that the cards will be printed. I assured him too, because steps were taken to make sure that that card, he gets his card. There are people across the country like that too. And INEC is taking all measures to ensure that all these people get their cards. And I want to say, from this morning, today, from 10 a.m., all resident electoral commissioners in this country, including all national commissioners and their chairman, will be meeting at the INEC headquarters to review the entire process in all states of the Federation. Each resident electoral commissioner will be presenting his report. What happened in his state, what's happening in his state, and the measures they took, and the problems that are still on ground. How many were collected? How many have not been collected? Then the commission will now look at the whole thing again, and of course, maybe there will be a review of the strategies, and maybe there will be additional strategies in these last few days to make sure that nobody is left behind. And also, I mean, some of the people who will be talking, they'll be able to commend INEC for all we have done. I too, even though we will not behave like the Agama lizard that fall from a Iroko tree and nodded its head, but we know that we'll be able to give cards to millions of people. And as I said earlier, if there's anybody that's not able to collect his or her card, that's one vote lost. And we don't want any vote of anybody to be lost. We always say that your vote we count. And if people are not able to vote, how will their vote count? So we are in the business of attending to all people who registered so that everyone can have his or her PVC and vote. And the issue of whether people can vote with old card or no card, there's nothing like old card. PVC is a PVC. There are persons who we said registered before. They had cards and they needed to transfer and they registered again. And such persons will not get any new card. If they can vote with their old with that card, I won't call it old card, with their PVC that is still valid, they will have to go to that place where they are registered to go and vote. And if they are not able to travel home to go and vote, then in future, they should just abide with the rules. You know, all these things, it's important for people to always abide with the rules of every activity. Whether it's INEC activity, whether it's financial sector activity, whether it's anything in the country, everything has its own rules and regulations. So there are a few people maybe who out of ignorance or out of deliberate action did not abide. But so such persons, we are not angry with them. They are still voters. But we believe that in future, they will be able to do the right thing. I want to say that I would rather wait for the commission and the resident electoral commissioners to hold their meeting, review the entire situation, and we will see what they will come up with.
Okay, Mr. Aduko, thank you. We would also like you to give us, if you do have the data, you know, so far out of the over 90 million, you know, registered voters that you have, you know, how many have collected so far up to yesterday? I'm sure you should be able to have that. And then if you may, give us a breakdown by geographical zoning. But that will be after, because we have our correspondent, Bright Ebuchuo, our NTA correspondent joining us from the Imo State capital. Bright, good to see you. And I hope everything as regards PVC collection is going on smoothly. But if you do have any other peculiar challenges or challenges peculiar, you know, to Imo or an Imo State, please could you share with us?
Sorry, could you take that? Could you take that again? Could you say what you said again, please?
Are do you have challenges that are peculiar in Owerri or in Imo State as a whole that you want to share with us?
It actually varies. It actually varies from local government to local government. For those local government that are close to the metropolis, I mean the state capital, close to the center, you have more persons coming out to collect their PVC, and you have INEC officers also, INEC personnel, at their duty posts as at when and you find out that in local governments, like in areas like also Abuja or Hadekema, those local governments that are far from the state capital, it's actually not the same. And it's no secret that it's attributed to fear, insecurity. You have few persons who feel that if they come out, they are not sure what they may eventually get out from the PVC Collection Center in terms of security, even though the security personnel there, security agencies are actually doing their best to ensure the protection of life and safety, but you cannot rule out that these guys cannot show up from nowhere and at any point in time, to just cause disruption. And it's also in the news 2 Saturdays ago, I think on the 14th, precisely, at Ahiazo NBC, we had one issue there where government came short sporadically, and it was alleged also that they even killed the security person there, disrupting the distribution and collection process on that set day. So apart from that, there's no other peculiar challenge that we're actually witnessing here in Imo State. It's just the insecurity issue. Even though they are doing their best, to see how they can nip that in the bud, it's still there.
Ben,
Bright.
Bright rather, is there a surge in the number of registrants who are seeking to collect their PVCs at this time? And what is the experience of those persons? How much time does it take for any of the registrants to be attended to? And what is the general attitude of the annex staff who are handling these registrants seeking to collect their PVCs?
Sorry, can you take that again, please?
Is there a surge of registrants seeking to collect their PVCs at this time? And how long does it take to attend to one person? And what is the attitude of the annex staff on duty?
All right. Like I said earlier, it actually varies. Now, when talking about local government around the state capital, I'm talking about those local government around maybe Owerri North, Owerri West, Owerri Municipal. You don't have issues with delay. The INEC officers are always there on time. You have people constantly coming out compared to how it was late last year anyway, where the officers were on duty, ready to distribute cards, but nobody was around to collect their cards. It's no longer like that. We have more persons actually coming out to pick their PVCs, and the distribution process has actually been seamless, apart from 1 or 2 cases of maybe those of them that need to have actually lodged the complaints on signing transfer of polling units and maybe wrongly spelled and some other issues that they may have had, just few persons. But those are for those ones that are actually in the state capital, local government around the state capital. For those that are away from the state capital, those that are far from the state capital, I'm talking about rural areas now, far from the state capital. It is not a matter of INEC not being there. INEC is actually on ground. The security people are actually on ground, but the people are actually scared to come out to pick their PVC. And like I said, the secret is not actually a secret. It's about fear of coming out to pick their PVC because they don't know what they would actually need in coming out to get their PVC.
All right, Bright, thank you very much for joining us from Owerri. We hope we're able to, of course, get you back before we wrap up today's conversation. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We are discussing collection of PVCs, an exercise that is scheduled to end on Sunday, the 29th of January. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll continue with our guests and our correspondents.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's Good Morning Nigeria, and just a reminder, we're just discussing, well, concerns raised from our correspondents and the citizens about collection of PVCs. Just few days to the deadline given by INEC. I asked for some statistics, from INEC, so we know where we are.
Let me just say that if I give you a figure now, it may not be correct. Let us wait for all the 37 resident electoral commissioners to submit their data today at the meeting. And after that, the commission will issue a statement about the level of collection, the cards that are still outstanding, state by state, and the measures the commission wants to take within the next 2 days to ensure that all these cards are collected.
But what's the body language now? Because you are an insider.
Yes.
You must feel the tempo. You must know what is the body language of INEC. There have been twists and calls and threats that you must extend.
Well, the body language of INEC is positive. The body language of INEC is to protect the national interest.
Positive to extend or positive to stay action on deadline?
But I will not preempt what the commission will decide. I will just say, let us wait a few hours. By evening, when we issue the statement, of course, every Nigerian will know. I think we should just give INEC some time to do this important review. Now that we have all of them on ground, I cannot say this will happen, that will happen. I have to allow the commission to take a decision on what should. But the commission is listening to all the various issues. Even this program now, commissioners are watching.
Sorry, before Kingsley takes your, I'm sorry, Kingsley, permit me, please. I know you have your question. Are you impressed when you look at the percentage collection, between...
But Sokoto is quite impressive.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Are you impressed in terms of percentage right now?
In many parts of the country, yes, we're impressed. We are impressed. The problems we having are in the heavily populated urban areas. In many states of the Federation, you don't really have any problem. Go to a place like Ekiti, go to a place like Ondo, go to a place like Taraba. In many parts of the country, we don't have any problem, especially the countryside. In fact, there was a time NTA showed something where even our officials were idle. People were not even coming. That is in the countryside, in towns and villages. The problem really is in heavily populated areas. And I told you earlier that our recs are actually doing a lot, like the FCT rec, Alaji Ayabele, who has said, even AMAC here, instead of saying everybody should go to the AMAC office, is running 8 centers. And I think we need to just show some form of understanding. And we are making promises that at the end of the day, everyone who is desirous of collecting, because you must have the desire to collect, will collect these cards. And persons who have problems with cards not printed, all that will be taken care of. And that's why I said we're having a review today. And we are telling the public that we're going to have this review. And at the end of the day, the commission will say something.
Okay.
And it's good for us to wait for the commission to say what they need to say.
Okay, Victor Aluko, thank you very much for your response. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, there are 2 points to actually stress. The INEC director may wish to amplify those points. Number one, we cannot expect 100% PVC collection in any state or even throughout the country. It's human nature. Some persons who registered maybe no more, and therefore they will not be available to collect. Some persons who registered at some point in one location may have gone elsewhere, a different part of the country, and then they are wondering, look, how much is it going to cost me for me to go and get my PVC at that particular point? He says, no, I can't do that. Let me forget that. Some persons who registered may have traveled out of the country and therefore are not immediately available during this time frame. But an appreciable number, as our correspondent Binji told us from Sokoto, is 87%. I mean, for you to score on there, I think it's 70%. But 70%, of course, will still be low for PVC collection. In Sokoto, 87%, and we expect perhaps the numbers to also climb. Second point, and INEC spoke to this earlier, and it bears repeating, and INEC is here. The question then was, why didn't INEC leave PVC collection open until the eve of the election? And the response then was no. They need to compile and compute the data of PVCs collected, because we have some 93 million persons registered to vote. But results of elections will be dependent on persons who are actually eligible to vote. That is, I can register. If I don't have a PVC, then I'm not eligible to vote. So it is the eligibility for me to vote that will then determine the number. And if you have about 80 or 82 million, that would be the number of persons who are eligible to vote. But they cannot ascertain that unless there is a cutoff date. So if Claire and I are waiting to go and collect our PVCs on Monday after the deadline, then we would have missed the deadline and we will be able to collect our PVC. But if they say, keep coming, everybody keeps coming, the number will keep growing. And of course, your data bank has to have also a cutoff line. That is why the electoral roll, or the voters' roll, as it is called in some jurisdictions, has to have a cutoff date. Just like you would have, for instance, if you are a shareholder in a company, the register of shareholders is closed at a certain date, so that at the AGM, if dividend is declared, it is members of the company, as at the cutoff date, the closure of the register, that will be paid dividends. If the register was closed, say on the 20th of January, and I buy shares today, 27th of January, and they have declared dividend by Monday, I cannot be a beneficiary of that dividend. That's one point. Victor Aluko, you may wish to amplify it, but assuming there is no amplification, I think that INEC, your directors, your recs, and commissioners and the chairman should be concerned about the feedback that our correspondents have given us. We have deliberately chosen our correspondents to come from different locations. On Tuesday, we had a focus on this, and today we're having another a focus on it, and the correspondents have come from different locations. If to collect your PVC, you are being directed from one center to another, what will happen on the day of voting? If I don't know where I'm going to vote, they come here, they say, go there, go there, go there. Isn't that a recipe for confusion or chaos? And how might INEC begin to worry about handling that? Then, reports of the attitude of INEC staff resuming late, because we had those complaints on Tuesday. Some of them resuming as late as 11. And all the arrangements of the cards ought to have taken place before they open. It's like a bank opening at 8 o'clock. It is not at 8 o'clock that they start arranging their desk. They resume long before time. How do you deal with that? So that we are heading less than a month now to voting, and everybody knows how enthusiastic voters are. How does INEC intend to deal with these issues? Mr. Aluko.
I think we should, probably this will be your closing response.
Okay.
We could just take one more questions from our correspondents, and then we'll end up with Mr. Aluko, if you don't mind, Kinsley.
Well, fine. I mean, I just thought Aluko could. That's fine. If you have a question for our correspondents, you pop those questions.
Okay, so let's bring in our correspondents from Sokoto. I think that should be Binji. Binji, quickly tell us, so far, what has been the experience of the less privileged group? For instance, like the Marjories, some of them, who are eligible to vote. Is there any consideration for this, category of citizens?
Well, thank you very much. Talking about, I can't really say that there is consideration for Al-Majri. I wish you say maybe consideration for, because Al-Majris here, we see them like any other person, and the only consideration that is available is for those maybe who are people with disability. Out of compassion, when they go to queues, people will say, okay, go. And usually what the INEC staff do here is to maybe start calling names based on the cards. They start calling. If you are around, you come and collect your cards. And maybe before you go, the question I want to ask the INEC representative is, here there are some people who have registered, but they have not seen their names, and with that, they have not seen their voter's card. Then what will be their pet before the D-Day, maybe before the election day?
Okay, Usman Binji, thank you very much. My colleague, of course, was talking about Al-Majiri on the presumption that persons who are voting age could also be Al-Majiris, but you've clarified that for us. But very quickly, because this has often been a sore point in different parts of the country, about underage registrants having access to PVCs. Have you had any such incidents in and around Sokoto or elsewhere that you know of?
Can you ask the question again?
Okay, Usman Binji, I'm saying that there is sometimes concern about underage persons registering to have access to the voter's card. I think you must have seen probably one or two images circulating on social media about an underage person, clearly underage person with a PVC. Have you had any such reports, for instance, from Sokoto?
Concern, we have monitored many collection centers, and we have not seen cases like that. Maybe the INEC were able to maybe do away with that right from the point of registration.
All right, Usman Binji, thank you very much. We have many loaded questions now for Victor Aluko, so including the last question that Binji posed from Sokoto. So we'll give you the opportunity to respond.
Well, thank you. Let me start with the issue of people identifying their polling units on election day. Those who voted in 2019 knew where they voted, and they formed the bulk of the register. They formed the bulk of the register. We had 84 million persons who were registered. So all those who voted then knew where they voted. The persons who are just getting on board now are the people who need to now know. They are new voters. So there are people who will know where they will vote. And the voter's card always have the code and even the location. In my own place where I live there, you know, when people register, they are asleep. The unit, so Lugbe LEA Primary School, Kapwa. And of course, some of them in my own locality, the primary school is just behind. So they knew, even though they were fresh registrants. It's like that all over the country. Your card has the code and has a short description of the location. And if you are really in that area, you will know. And if there's anyone who does not know, we also have these, you can check through our website. You know, you can check through our website. If you are educated and IT savvy, you can check through our website. We encourage people to do so. And of course, let me say, if you have card and you're a new voter and you're living in an area and you do not know where that polling unit is, please ask others who have voted before in your area. Among families, ask. They will tell you. The issue of information can come from many sources, from your family, from friends, within the same neighborhood. You can ask people, where is the polling unit around this area? And they will tell you. And of course, once you registered, we allocate you to that. You see the code of a polling unit, and even the name on your card. So if you ask, they'll just tell you it's over there. Because polling units are closer to the people. While the collection of cards is taking place in wards, we are having centers. Like I told you, even when we devolved to wards, within wards, Rex had many centers. But you know that there are thousands of units in each local government. And so we have more units than centers for collection. There are two different things.
Okay.
We could not run.
Attitude of INEC staff.
I will not see anything negative about any INEC staff. Most of them did well. And if there is anybody that did not perform, we apologize for that. And we say that the remaining days now, the remaining hours for collection, that word will go out to all the localities, all the local government areas, to all the collection centers. This is what we have observed. This is what we have had, that please, people should attend to those who want to collect their cards. You should attend to them very well. You should encourage and inspire persons. Because if somebody left his house to come to a center to come and collect, and he could not collect, and had to go to another place, it's not really a good thing. So we feel a lot about such persons, and word will go out that in every part, please be more cautious, help people, because it's important for them to get PVCs. After all, INEC is saying no PVC, no voting.
Okay, just so we in conclusion, we would like you to recap some of those basic steps. You know, they're just few days to hopefully to the deadline, but hopefully, and I'm sure the signs you're giving us, there might be some topping of dates, you know, understand, you know, and all that. But just remind us again of the steps, you know, to take to get the PVCs. What are the basic steps?
The basic step is you take your slip. We gave you a slip when you registered. Go to the collection center. Be open to news and announcements by INEC. In every area we announce, we let people know the collection centers. Go to the collection center and the people there will attend to you. If you go to a wrong collection center, they will look at your slip and tell you where to go. You know, people still, I know somebody who called me that he went to a collection center. His name was not there, he was directed to another place. And somebody I know very well. And I told her, I said, we're sorry about that. Please just take the effort, take the pains and go to that place. You will get your card. So we encourage persons who have experienced that to please be patient with INEC. And they should not lose any hope at all. For we will try our best to attend to everyone.
Okay, Mr. Victor Aluko, Director of Voter Education and Publicity of INEC, we appreciate your being part of our conversation this morning. And as you have hinted, we await the outcome of the super meeting by Rex, commissioners and the chairman, and the statement that INEC will issue thereafter. Victor Aluko, Voter Education and Publicity Director of INEC, thank you for being our guest this morning. We also would like to thank our own correspondent, Abuja correspondent for the NTA, Aisha Ubali, for the situation report that you gave to us. And also our other correspondents in different locations. We were joined from Ibadan by Oyeyinka Omole. Oyeyinka Omole, we appreciate you for your reports, and of course, we'll get back to you in the course of the electioneering season. Thanks a lot. From Yola, we were joined by Yusuf Jika. Jika, of course, is in Adamawa State. Jika, thanks a lot for being with us today. Via Zoom from Owerri, the Imo State capital, Bright Ebochuo was our correspondent who gave us a feedback on the goings-on with respect to PVC collection. From Sokoto Network Center, Usman Muhammad Binji, we appreciate you with your clear signals from the Sokoto State capital. So, that's it for us on Good Morning Nigeria today. Deep thanks for tuning in. Join us same time Monday, 7 o'clock in the morning.